My Lord, ladies and gentlemen, ask an Egyptian what is Smouha, and he may well tell you that it is a football team from the city of Alexandria. The team is one of 18 football teams in the top league, the Egyptian Premier League, and was top in August 2014. In fact, as evidence, I have received a present, which is so the football team is named after a district in Alexandria called Smouha. Nasser cancelled the word city. My brother was checking in at the airport in Amsterdam, and the man at the ticket desk said, "Did you know that your family is named after a place in Egypt?" And he replied, "No, the place in Egypt was named after my family." Very significant. While the name is familiar, not many people in Egypt now know that Smouha City was built by a Jew. The city was named after my grandfather, Joseph. The building of Smouha City was itself a great adventure. The name is all that remains of our family's presidents in Egypt, except for the fact that recently they have opened another Smouha club in Borg Al Arab, without our knowledge, without our authorization in particular. Here's how it all started. Joseph Smouha actually came from Iraq. He was born in Iraq. He himself was born in Baghdad in 1878 and went to Manchester as a boy in 1892. He became a very successful cotton broker, but at the outbreak of the First World War, he closed his business and sent everybody off to the forces and offered himself for public service. One day in 1923, sent from England on the government business, and he took a train from Cairo to Alexandria. Alexandria is situated on the edge of the swamplands and lakes of the Nile Delta. The railway line ran and runs on an embankment alongside infectious marshland. Looking out of the window, Joseph saw that the city of Alexandria was hemmed in by Lake Khadra. In the brochures that you have, there is the 1907 of the Survey Department of Egypt, of Alexandria, and you can see how Lake Khadra actually blocked the expansion of Alexandria. Spotting the potential to be gained if he drained Lake Khadra, he was told that he could have it for free, on condition that he drained the lake, but he insisted on paying a commercial price, which is a big advantage as of today in this discussion. Joseph embarked on the project of a lifetime. He moved his wife and 8 children from Manchester to Alexandria, where 7% or 24,000 of residents of the city were Jews. He set up a competition for the best architects in Europe and Egypt. A plan was selected. Together with my father and uncle, Joseph built an entire city. Soon, Smouha City became an upscale residential suburb, much sought after by the well-to-do classes of Alexandria and much European former royalty. Even the exiled Italian King Victor Emmanuel lived and died there. In time, he also built a racecourse, golf course, and sports club. There was an industrial zone, a police post, a post office, schools, dispensaries, as well as a church, a mosque, and synagogue, all the features of a small town. Joseph Smouha wanted to call his project after King Fuad City, but the king insisted that he call it after himself by the name Smouha City. After World War II ended, came the army officers' coup, the Suez Crisis, and Nasser's mass nationalization of British, French, and Jewish property, saying that Egypt was at war with three countries. Smouha City was sequestrated, nationalized, and confiscated. Parts of it were being sequestrated, part nationalized, and part confiscated. And also, actually, many Egyptian Jews in general in Egypt, and almost anybody in Egypt who had assets were dispossessed. In 1957, along with 25% of the Jewish community, my family, which are British, was unable to return to Egypt, moving to London, Paris, and Geneva. The Egyptian government compensated us 12 years later for a fraction of the project's value. But this was not the end of the story. The family home, a mansion outside Smouha City on the Alexandria seaside, was used by successive Egyptian presidents. In the year 2000, I discovered that the family house had somehow been overlooked in the sequestration and is probably still in our name today. The National Insurance Company merely occupied it and then either handed it over or sold it to the presidency. Under Egyptian law, owners of properties that had not been sold could reclaim them. We engaged an Egyptian lawyer to fight the case for restitution in court. The lawyer died, but his son took over. The case dragged on with the usual obstacles, in addition to intervention by the presidency, arguing that compensation had already been paid, insufficient documentation, etc. We were about to abandon the case when President Mubarak was deposed, and the Court of Ethics, which was the one which handled all these cases, was disbanded. We have now resumed our attempt to get justice. When my grandfather died in 1961, the Daily Telegraph reported that King Fuad had said that he was the only foreigner who had come to the country, brought his own money, and did good to the country.